Good morning, family. How are you got? Well, I said good morning. You know I'm tired. I'm about to say good evening, family. How are you guys doing? I'm glad I made it on tonight because only Lord knows I am exhausted, but I'm not too exhausted to have this conversation. We got to really talk about this because I don't know what the hell is going on with our world. And listen, everyone's entitled to be different. Everyone's entitled to have their opinion, their beliefs, and go after what you want. But some people, I don't know what's going on. I don't know whose agenda some of us are following. So we're going to have a really good conversation today about whether or not heroin should be legalized. That is going to be our conversation today. Should heroin be legalized? We're going to talk about the Columbia University, that Ivy League professor, who wrote a book, and he wants heroin legalized. We're going to talk about some of the points that he made today. I'm going to remind you guys by showing y'all a little bit of footage of what heroin addicts look like in our hood. I don't know how they look in the white hoods, but I know how they look in our hood. I want to remind us on the nod effect. I want to remind us what we see in our community. So I had to really come on because this is Mental Health Fridays. This is Mental Health Fridays, and we got to examine some stuff because listen, our community got to be very, very careful what we follow. So we're going to talk about a couple of things. I know some people think that it should be legalized. I see somebody in the chat saying it's already legal in Oregon. We know there's a sinister plan going on, in my opinion. We know there's something bigger going on. So we're going to explore that. I don't have all the answers. Together, we're going to have some type of answers. I don't have all the answers, but I know how I feel, and I know what I think, and I know I don't like what I am seeing. That's just my opinion, right? And we are all entitled to opinions. So before we go ahead and get started, to all my beautiful people out there, thank you so much for that tea time, sugar mama. I got to put that out there. Thank you so much. I like when another woman can compliment another woman, right? How you doing, Wanda? How you doing, Wanda, Miss Beautiful? Right? I love all of you guys. Listen, before we go ahead and get started, just do some small housekeeping. Share the video. Share the video. We're going to have a conversation. I'm going to keep it clean, PG-13. I might say, damn, but I'm going to keep it clean. I've been getting better because I'm tired of my YouTube strikes against my channel. I've been getting better. So I'm going to keep it clean, but we're going to share this video. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And then a little bell that pops up, hit that bell so you can be notified when I go live. Engage with me. Give it a thumbs up. To my little haters out there, go ahead and give the videos a thumb down if that's what you want to do. But engage. To my moderators on YouTube, I want to say thank you so much. Make sure we allow people to have their opinions, because this is going to be one of those conversations that might hit home for some people, because some people got some addicts in their family. And we know the strain that addicts have had on many of our families. So let people have their day, just as long as they keep it respectful. Now, y'all know what to do when people get disrespectful. We just remove them. And to my Facebook family, I hope you guys have been enjoying the videos that I'm bringing over to Facebook, because, I abandoned you guys, but I'm back. So go ahead and give this video a like, give the page a like and a follow, comment, share it. Let's have some real good conversation. Now, without further ado, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the professor out of Columbia University. His name is Carl Hart, and he is a heroin user. He wrote a book about his heroin use, and he's outlining why he thinks, not only because he personally uses heroin and he's a professor. Woo, Father, I can't make this stuff up. Not only because he personally uses heroin, but because he's been studying addicts for many years, apparently. And he has reasons based off of his studies why he believes that heroin should be legalized. Now, I don't know whether or not we should legalize heroin. And I understand that there's a lot of people who are in the substance abuse field, and they have the framework of harm reduction and the belief system that comes around harm reduction. And so pretty much what harm reduction is, family, let me just let you know what it is different than abstaining from using drugs, right? Because when you go into drug treatment programs, what they want from you is to not use drugs, right? So you got to be clean. And you know how people say, "How I'm an addict and I have 31 days clean, I have 90 days clean, I have 120 days clean." So they want people to abstain from using drugs. However, what harm reduction says is we got to meet people where they are. And with that kind of philosophy, what they're saying is there's no one size fit all. Like the use of drugs, whether it's heroin, cocaine, crack, it doesn't matter, is different for everybody. And so what harm reduction does is it shifts the focus away from the problems that are surrounding using drugs, the problems itself. It shifts the focus from there, and it goes on to how can we make this less harmful for the people who are actively choosing to use drugs, right? So it might be giving out clean needles, might be a form of harm reduction, right? It could be a number of things that they do to try to help people reduce the harm that they're doing. Now, if you're using needles, one of the harms that happens out of using drug use is spreading HIV, right? Because you put it in your blood, in your vein, blood goes in, and you HIV and HIV positive, and then you pass the needle on to someone else, and they put it in their arm. Now their blood is going in, your blood is going into their blood, and they're becoming infected, right? So that's one way of harm reduction. Is like, listen, we can reduce the amount of HIV transmission, for example, by giving free needles, free clean needles. We can reduce the harm that is happening to individuals by making it, if they're going to choose to use drugs, let's make it easier. The reason why I'm bringing this up, family, is because when I think about, and I'm going to introduce you guys to him in a second by bringing up an article that's written on him. I can't bring up a video that's played because I keep getting flagged on YouTube. And YouTube don't want me sharing certain stuff. See, if I share you guys smacking each other around, twerking, right? If I share you guys doing drugs in front of your babies, if I share you guys killing each other on camera, YouTube ain't going to flag me. And I understand what they're talking about when they say copyright. Yeah, I understand all of that, right? But the thing is, they don't flag all my videos. See, they pick and choose which one of my videos they're gonna flag. And y'all know, family, I share videos all the time. They don't flag me on everything. I don't get pinged on everything. But the reason why I'm not gonna show you the video of this professor, I'm gonna share an article, but I'm not gonna show you the video, is because I think there's something sinister going on. Now, y'all know, from time to time, I engage in conspiracy theories, right? Y'all know, because I'm not better than that. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm not better than that. So I do engage in it from time to time. And this is one of those things that I think is fitting for us to have this conversation, because I'm starting to feel, baby, I'm starting to feel exactly, Mary Jane. She said the agenda is real. The agenda is very real. I'm starting to feel there's something very sinister going on. You got to see this interview he did. You gotta just go and just watch about this guy, Carl Hart. He said he wants Joe Biden to legalize heroin. So let me tell you, when I'm reading all these white articles, not for nothing, but that's where most of them are. When I'm reading all these white articles and they're interviewing this guy and they seem very excited. I mean, maybe it was just me. Maybe I woke up one day and I was sleepwalking or dreaming, daydreaming, and maybe I thought white America was up in arms about white heroin addicts. And I thought maybe white America was saying we have to do something because the overdosing is a bit much. We have to have, you know, intervention. We have to put these people in treatment centers and not jail them. And I thought white America thought there was a problem with opioids, and I thought white Americans thought it was a problem with heroin. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it isn't a problem. But when I seen this black guy, let me show you who he is. Let's just bring it up, right? This is what Daniel's saying. Daniel said, this is my Aquarius brother. Happy belated brother. I mean, happy belated birthday, brother. He said that brother is a genius that went dope fiend. I saw the video, and he says after a long day, he snorts a little dope and he feels alive. Yes, baby. You know, he did say that. He did say that. Now, I'm going to bring him up in a second, but my Aquarius brother just brought something to my mind. This man must not, even though he says he has seen drugs all through his community growing up, he must have missed something, or maybe something sinister is happening here. I don't know, but I know what it looks like to see addicts, and I know what it looks like to work with addicts. And believe me, I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of it, but I know what it looks like to have addicts in your family. I know what it looks like to have to hide your money. I know what it looks like to be a child sleeping at your relative's house where you're supposed to be safe there and waking up and your relative is not there because they're in the street getting high. Those are not good emotional feelings. So this professor, maybe because he has his tenured job at an Ivy League university and he can afford to do a little bit here and a little bit there. Maybe he can afford to do these things, but I don't know how responsible it is. And I don't know how much of an account he's really considering the communities that are hit hard with substance abuse. Somebody's saying, how does he still have a job? Well, this is why I say something sinister is going on. In my opinion, I think they're using this brother for their own little. Let me just introduce y'all to the brother. Because when I read this article, we're not going to read the whole article. We're definitely not. But I want you guys to see how he looks. And I want to go over some things that he says. And I want you guys to know how you feel about it, because I want to know what you feel. You might think it's okay. You might say, you know something? Somebody say he is white. He is not white. I don't know. Well, maybe he's a black white supremacist. I don't know. But this is him. This is him. Meet Carl Hart, parent, Columbia professor, and heroin user. Right? When, let me ask you this, family. The author of this article, Andrew Anthony, white guy. When have you known white men or women glorify a black man's substance abuse? Oh, I'm sorry, it's not substance abuse for him. I want to watch my terminology. His substance use, not abuse, and according to him, is not misuse. It's just use. When I tell y'all, family, something sinister is going on here. When I tell you that, family, I mean just that. As all the articles that I have read, when it comes to substance use, misuse, and abuse in the Black communities, it's not being glorified. They're not thinking it's a brilliant, genius idea. I'm pretty sure that this professor, Mr. Carl Hart, I'm pretty sure he is not the only person who uses illegal substances that wants illegal substances to be legal. I'm pretty sure he is not the only person who is an active user and works at a prestigious institution. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of white people in his position and experiencing parallel experiences of his life. I'm pretty sure. But for some reason, they're using this man's face to push this agenda. And it's packaged so nicely, right? It's packaged with his research, it's packaged with his study, his experience working with addicts. It's packaged so nicely to convince certain people, because it ain't convincing everybody. It's packaged nicely to convince certain people to jump on the bandwagon. You see, family, let me say this, family. Let me say this. I find it very interesting that in 2021, when Joe Biden has taken the presidency, I find it very interesting that everyone is popping up. Everyone is popping up and they're pushing their agendas. I find it very interesting that now everybody's using a black face to push multiple agendas, from the vaccine, right? Black Lives Matter, drug use, feminism. Everybody is using black faces. Now, maybe this is not a big deal for you guys, but for me, there's something sinister going on here. It doesn't make me feel comfortable. And see, sometimes we just got to sit back and we got to watch and pay attention to the signs and the patterns and what's truly happening. Sometimes we have to be slow to speak, and we just got to sit down and just write out everything that's happening. Write out who are the authors who are publishing these things in online articles and media forces. Write down who are the faces that they are using. Look at what their family lives are like, who they're married to, who are their children, what's their occupation, what's their social circle looking like. Taquan Harrison says, during the crack era, Black folks were not given this same opportunity to speak about their experiences. During the opiate epidemic, we saw a bunch of stories about white and white adjacent people. Black people were ignored. They were. Sean says, a lot of you are late to the game on Dr. Hart. I've been familiar with him since his appearance in the house that I lived in. And then I read his book, High Price. See, it's not about being late to the game, right? It's about looking at the timing. That's the message I'm saying here. You see, he's been around for a very long time in terms of how we look at time in this day and age. If you've been around 5 years nowadays, is a long time, right? So he's been around for a while. It's not about whether we're late to Dr. Hart. It's about looking at the timing. See, timing is everything. And if we don't really sit down and analyze what's happening, if we don't really sit back and pay attention to how the agenda is being pushed and how the faces are shifting for all the sinister stuff now. They're pushing so many agendas. I'm not going to go through all the agendas. Family, y'all know what the agendas are. I'm not going to go because I know how some of y'all be in your bag and you like to flag people's videos and do all types of ridiculous things. Those who are in the B1 family, we know exactly what the agendas are. And we also know how the faces of the agendas have shifted. We also know that everybody is jumping on the backs of blacks to push agendas. We also know that I don't care how crazy I think it sounds. I'm saying go back, pay attention to the patterns. Pay attention to who's speaking. Pay attention to the things that we once knew was off limits. How all of a sudden they're trying to normalize a lot of things. And you know how you get these things normalized? You put a black face. Because right now, family, we are in a sensitive time. We're in a sensitive time where not too many people really want to challenge black people, right? Everybody's moving cautiously. I'm not saying we're not being challenged. They're being challenged. Some of us are knocking people out. Some of us are fighting back, right? Some of us are losing our lives. And some white people are losing their jobs, right? So I'm saying we are in a very unique, interesting time in history. A very unique, interesting time. And so when I talk about Professor Hart, this is not about, in my opinion, for what I'm talking about, it's not about, oh, he's wrong, he's bad, he's this, he's a sellout. It's not about that. I want to know about what we cannot see. I want to know about what's behind the scene. I want to know what we should be expecting. You see, that's how I feel we have to start operating as a community. Because with all the stuff that's going on, these people are going to drive many of us in our community absolutely crazy. See, we're already fragile. We're already. Let me tell you something, family. I'm trying to talk to y'all. I'm trying to talk to you. I really need y'all to be able to read between some of these lines. See, y'all can write it in the chat. I can't verbalize it here. So y'all gotta be able to read between the lines. As a relationship expert and someone who focuses on the Black family, I always tell y'all the number one agenda is to dismantle the Black family unit. I say this quite often. And every time something new comes up, it just proves my point. Right? It just proves my point. Let's see what Sean is saying. Sean says, I don't agree with drug use of any kind. That's why I'm ambivalent about weed being legalized. I like that Black people are not criminalized for using it. That's the positive, but more drug use in our community, I guess he was going to say. I do like the fact that the use of drugs is being decriminalized. I'm a social worker. I'm a social worker at heart, right? In education and experience, but I'm a social worker. I do like the fact that it's being decriminalized, but you got to really look at things behind the scene. So the trade-off of them getting what they want is by, well, we're not going to put Black people in jail. We're not going to put Hispanics in jail, other persons of colors, Black and Hispanics, that's all that really means, because we don't see the jails filling up with Indians. We don't see the jails filling up with Asians. We don't see the jails filling up. Y'all get my point, right? So the trade-off is, well, we'll stop locking them up. But we want this to happen. The question that I have is, why do they want this to happen? It's not because they feel that they don't want to lock us up anymore, because I personally believe our asses are still going to get locked up. Right? I personally believe that we're still going to get locked up. Sean is telling me to read the rest of the comment. Where is it, Sean? Okay, so he says here, the rest of it is community. It's about the last thing we need. We need our focus to be on everything that's productive, and getting high is not good towards this goal. You're absolutely right. See, this guy called Hart, pushing this message. Let me show y'all something, because I want y'all to see what I see. Right? When I hear of this professor gaining a lot of leeway, he was on TED Med, which is TED Talks and TEDx, where you have TED Med, which is about the medical field. He was on that too. He was on a lot of channels, right? He was on a Breakfast Club, I believe, but that's more newer. But if you go back and you look at things, he's been making his little headway, writing his book, disclosing his drug use in his book. Let me tell you something, family. When you are a tenure professor at an Ivy League university, you are just not going to write about your drug use in the book just because. See, you're going to take some type of precautionary things. You're going to try to take some measures to try to protect your pension, protect or your retirement plan, protect your prestige, protect your job, make sure income is still. No one is going to move like that, family, just because. I don't buy it, not one iota. No one is going to move like that just because. So the question that I have is, who is helping him? Who is behind the scene promising him his protection? Now, y'all already know how they do Black people in America. You know when they use us for their agenda, it's quid quo pro. We're going to get something out of it to some degree, even if it means just popularity, right? I'm not saying this is Carl Hart's case. I'm just saying, even if it means just popularity, like you get on CNN and you get a little bit of clout until they don't want you there anymore. Like, what's that guy from that used to always be on CNN, the Lamont Hill? You see how he messed that one up, right? You don't hear about his name as often as we used to. You know how that works, right? You rub shoulders with them until you can't no more. Everything has a price. And so I want to know what's the price on his head. And I want to know who's behind the scene. See, this is how my mind thinks. Because this is not healthy for our community. Let me remind you guys why this is not healthy for our community. I'm going to share this. This is in the Bronx.
Neighborhood. Okay, what do we got here? Man, look at the shopping cart. What's he looking at? Oh no, my man is nodding out. And there he goes. Oye, despiértate, brother! Hey, wake up, dude! My man is totally oblivious to everything going around here. People just passing by, and he's like, oh, wait a minute, here he goes. Hey, wake up!
That's how it looks in our community, right? Is that familiar, family? That's how it looks in our community. So when you go out there, and this is the message. Yes, Daniel, absolutely, Daniel. Absolutely. He said, and what's scary, Dr. Shonna, is that when he's an actual reputable guy, because he comments a lot on Black-oriented documentaries, and he's a go-to guy who people seek out to get his opinion. This guy has gone rogue. See, has he gone rogue? Has he? Right? I don't know if he has gone rogue. I get what you're saying, right? I get exactly what you're saying. But this is deeper than him going rogue. This is a strategy. And they always are going to elevate someone like us to be the go-to person, build the popularity, build the fame, right? Build that all up. Right, Junior? Sounds like he's backed, right? Build the popularity, build the fame, build the trust in the community. But this is really not about our community. This is really not because he wants to reduce the harm in our community. It really isn't about that. That's the message that they always push. Just like with the Black Lives Matter organization. The message was about Black men, but when you read the agenda, when you go to their website and you read the agenda, it has nothing to do with Black men. The mission of the organization has nothing to do with Black men being harmed by the police. It was a trick bag. And the same is true about this guy here. The same is true about this guy right here. He's a face. He's a face. We should be concerned about what is going to be the outcome and how is this going to impact us. I don't care what this guy's opinion is. I don't care about his book. I don't care about his personal life. If he wants to shoot heroin and nod off for a little bit and then turn around and play with his kids a little bit later, if he's fine with his children knowing that he shoots heroin or takes heroin, I don't know what kind of, how he takes it. But if he's okay with his children knowing this and his wife is okay and the family's just a happy heroin family, that has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me. I'm concerned about the agenda and how the agenda is going to impact our community. How is it going to hurt us? Because all the stuff that he's talking about is not heroin that causes the overdose, is the mixing it with other drugs, and we just need to have drug education. That's what we need to do. We need to legalize it and make sure that we provide drug education so people can know what you can and cannot take it with. Let's really think about that, family. Let's really think about that, family. They so-called provide HIV education in certain communities that are hit hard with HIV. They provide education in those communities, and are we still getting infected with HIV in certain communities? We are. Women are still being infected. Men are still being affected. It's still happening, despite the education in the community, despite the harm reduction, despite the free condoms, despite the sex education. It's still happening. So don't come telling me if you just educate the community, then the overdosing is going to decrease. So if you educate, what community are you talking about? Whose community are you talking about? This is how we have to start thinking. Right? This is how we absolutely have to start thinking. We get so caught up sometimes, and this is what I mean when I say we don't understand when our mind is being altered, right? This is Mental Health Fridays, right? This is Friday, right? We don't understand how our mind starts to get altered when we start getting fed all this stuff. See, right now, today, fam, this is why we got to be careful. I'm going to say this and I'm out. I'm not staying here too long. This is why we got to be careful. Because right now, family, nigga, one of our community members, got to highlight, hold on, I'll be right back with you for a second. Let me highlight him. James is saying, why promote this behavior? Sounds like a scene from Dark Mirror. Two brothers playing that video game. That's what our community member says. Shay is saying, he is just the face for it. The opioid epidemic is taking out a lot of the non-colored folks, so they have to try to make us the face while putting laws in place for them. Right? Someone else is saying, in reference to HIV, because there is no money in the cure. It's about maintaining with drugs. Now that is where the money is. Right? So you know what? You know what? You on to something, Nefertiti. I think that's my Aquarius sister. I don't know. Nefertiti, you my Aquarius sister? I know somebody on here is one of my sisters on here always shouting it out. But let me say this. You're on to something, sister. Let me tell you why I think you're on to something. See, when you start pushing drugs, you already know that the big pharma, the greedy pharmaceutical companies are going to get their hands on it. And you know the greedy pharmaceutical companies are going to put billions of dollars behind the advertisement. And they're going to market it to the communities that will best serve in order for their money to grow, right? So they're really not going to worry about our community. I want y'all to know that. I want y'all to really hear this. And if you think just legalizing heroin or any other type of drugs, if you think just legalizing it is now going to get all the drug dealers off the street, you got another thing coming. It ain't going to get the drug dealers off the street. It's not going to stop people nodding off in our community. It's not going to stop people robbing, stealing, and killing. It's not going to stop the deprivation that is existing in our communities that propel these things to happen. It's not going to stop any of that. So they're really not talking about our community. They want to make it safe for them to just go into the store and buy their drugs and use their drugs or go get their doctor to write a script or whatever the case is, however they're going to get it. They just want to make sure that they make it safe so they can stop taking trips into impoverished neighborhoods to buy their drugs. That's what I think. All right, now, Kira, Aquarius gang in the house. That's what I think. That's what I think. So you got to think about this. We know when you are an addict, it can be very dangerous to purchase drugs. Are we really thinking about this, family? See, let's not focus on call. Let's look behind the scene. We got to get our mental right. Because if we don't start thinking critically, our mind is going to be co-opted. And let me tell you how your mind's getting co-opted. I'm going to go back to my story in a second, but let me tell you how your mind is being co-opted. You got to get your mind right. Because they're starting this now. There's going to come a time, family. I don't know if it's going to be soon. I don't know if it's going to be in the near future. I don't know if it's going to be in a distant future. But there's going to be a time as we go forward that it's going to be up for vote. It's going to be on the ballot. It's going to be on the floor. A decision is going. See, everything in America, family, is political. I know y'all don't like to have political conversations, but I like to have political conversations. Everything in America is political. Everything. Drugs is political. Poverty is political. Crime is political. Race is political. Sex is political. Everything is political in this country. So we got to understand the dynamics here. It's not easy to purchase drugs in a high crime area when you got a little bit of cash in your pocket, right? You might not come out alive. It's not easy. It's not easy to leave your house when you are a high figure person to go buy drugs and do the drugs, whether you're doing it in a hotel away from your family, right? So your family, your wife and your kids won't know you doing it. Maybe you have to leave and maybe you get it delivered to the hotel. Maybe things can go wrong, right? You can lose your job. You can lose your life. You can lose your family. There's a lot of risk involved here. There's a lot of risk involved here. But when you legalize it and remove the stigma that's attached to it, and you make it easily accessible for those who want access to it, see, they're not worried about your poor black behind on the street. They're not worried about you. They're not worried about you in the Bronx. They're not worried about you in Newark. They're not worried about you in the ATL. They ain't worried about you in Texas. They ain't worried about you. They're not worried nothing about you. What do you think? They got this black man, right? Let's just look at him. I mean, this is the best black man you can get to do it, right? You just look at his picture alone. Just look at this man's picture alone. This is the best black man to do it. He got his free locks all over the place. He's a dark brother, right? Look black, but not dangerous. But look dangerous, but not too dangerous. You know, I'm talking about to the white man's eye. Perfect person. Then all the titles that come along with it. Married, a scientist, and an awesome university. A lot of stuff goes along with that. So just in the picture with us seeing this, we seeing the black man and we don't start to use our mind and we don't start to think critically. We seeing this black man. And we like say, you know, he's smart. Oh, he's a Columbia University professor. Oh, I mean, you listen to his talk, it makes a lot of sense. Oh, what he's saying makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you know what? We got to support each other. This is what we go to school for. His research is sound. We start saying things like that. And then it makes the floor. And it's up for a vote. And now we have been conditioned. Our mind has been programmed. It has been conditioned. And we have come to believe that this is no longer bad. This is no longer not good for our community. They have had so many talks and so many advertisements. They're going to flood our community, flood our mind, flood our social media. They're going to change your thinking. You're going to start thinking about illegal drugs a little bit more differently. You're going to start seeing the benefit in legalizing the drugs. They're going to use your black son that went to jail. They're going to use your baby father that went to jail. They're going to use your daddy that was locked up. They're going to tell everybody's story who was criminalized because of drugs, and they're going to play on your heart, especially women. Especially women, especially black women is what I should say. Because they know they don't give us nothing, but they want everything from us. They give us nothing but want everything for us. And the only only way they get what they want from us is by conditioning and programming our minds. They know what to prop up against us. They know when to do it. They know how to push the agenda, how to make it more popular. This man has been around for a long time. So why now is he popular? Why now? And see what else is your president, Joe Biden, because y'all voted for him. Y'all did. I'm just trying to say. What else is he going to push? We already listen. He pushing everything besides clearing our student loan debt, right? He's pushing everything. Every agenda he could think of is being pushed. So now all of a sudden, all of this stuff is coming out. And everyone is saying, because we want Joe Biden, every community that got an agenda, and y'all know what I mean when I say every community that got an agenda, every community. Come on, family. We here. Every community that got an agenda wants Jim Crow Joe to do something for them. Every community that got it, and the only thing he's doing is pacifying us, ignoring the real issues that's happening, just pacifying us. And we're being brainwashed, and we're being conditioned, and we're being controlled. And we know this is going to happen. We know they're gonna do what they do best with propaganda. We already know how it's gonna happen, and then we're gonna have arguments with each other about why we should legalize heroin. That's what's gonna happen. If we don't start examining this stuff critically right now, if we don't start looking at what's not being said, if we don't start searching for what's in the dark, because we can. One thing you cannot ignore, family, is universal laws. They exist. And one of the laws is, you can't do things in the dark for too long. You do it in the dark, it has to come to the light. And right now, the light is peaking. But some of us are just comfortable staying in the dark. We don't really want to think critically. We don't really want to examine these things. We don't really want to have the conversations that need to be had. We only get upset when everybody else get upset. We only jump on it when everyone else jumps on it. And that's when you know that the strings are being pulled in our community. So when I tell you, we have to really work on our mental health. How strong is your mind? See, your mind is part of your mental health. How strong is your mind that your strings can be pulled and you can be swayed any direction? What is this person saying? Diller Pat is saying, if heroin gets legal, that will stop the people from fighting for reparations. Welcome, Ms. Shay, for joining the channel. Appreciate that. I don't think that would stop the people from fighting, because those of us who are fighting for reparations, we ain't worried about no goddamn heroin. See, you got to understand. See, let me say this and I'm going. 6 minutes, family. Give me 6 minutes and I'm going, because I'm starting to get frustrated now, right? So give me 6 minutes and I'm going. But family, there's something that has been bothering me about our community. I want to say this. Race is a factor, right? In a lot of cases, race is a factor. But we have to broaden our critical thinking skills sometimes beyond race. Because if that's the only lens that we're looking through, we're going to miss a lot. I just said it, that using Professor Carl Hart as the face and the voice to legalize some of the most dangerous drugs to have legalized. And listen, you want to legalize or legalize it. I can care less. I see it from both ends. I see it from harm reduction for the addict, but I also see it as harmful for my community. So I see it from both ends, right? But what I'm trying to say to you, if we're looking at the face, the melanin of Carl Hart as the premise of our discussion, if we're looking at his face and we're assuming if this becomes legal, then we're going to stop talking about reparations. That means that we're not broadening our thinking. This has nothing to do with this man being black. That's what I'm trying to say to you, family. This is a trick bag, but they know how our community is going to respond. They know when they prop a black face up, it always triggers us. I'm saying we got to stop being triggered by everything. We got to stop being triggered by everything. This has nothing to do with reparations. If they legalize heroin, we're not going to stop fighting for reparations. I don't think one has to do with the other. This is for them. This is for their community. It's a way to get it past the floor because they need your votes in order for it to benefit their community. That's how you got to see this thing. We can't always be turning around and saying, oh, they're doing it because I'm black. No, they're not doing it because you're black, but they're doing it because you're black. You understand what I'm trying to say? It's a big difference. It's not because you're black and we're going to hurt you, but because you're black and we can use you to get what we want. We got to recognize certain things. David is saying, let me see what David is saying. Let me highlight what David is saying. He says, Doc, please emphasize the fact that most of us are not taught how to think. Critical thinking, as you know, is a skill. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Shalom. Peace to you too, brother. And I love you as well. And you're right, but that's why we're having these discussions. We're having these discussions, David, so that we can start to engage critically. And you're right, it is a skill. And skills can be taught. And if we're having critical conversations and we're challenging each other's thoughts, that's how we increase the skill. That's how we build the muscle. But what I'm saying, family, is in order for us to build the muscle, we got to stop being so reactive to everything. Everything that we say, oh, it's because we're black. Oh, because it's racism. Everything is not because of that. But when we're so damaged, when we're so tired of being used and abused, that's all we're seeing it as. We're seeing it through that lens. You got to rise above that. You got to know when that's happening to you and when it's something else. And what I'm saying in reference to what's happening right now with the push for legalizing heroin, I'm saying it's something else. They know how drugs hurt our community. They know how drugs hurt our families financially in our community. They know that you can't have money around in the house because they're going to steal it. They know that you get evicted and many of them turn homeless because the money is used on drugs as opposed to housing and shelter. They know that you'll have a TV today and you won't have a TV tonight because it will be sold. They know that if you got a mama, that you living in a home with your mama and she got Social Security, you stealing her checks, you tapping into her bank account. They know that happens primarily in our community. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in their community, but they know how it impacts our community. They know how it hurts our relationships with our family and tears up our families, right? They know that bodies are found in the streets in the hood and they're discovered days later. They know children are being ripped out of our homes because their parents are addicted to drugs and our children are being put in foster care. They know that's happening. They know that our young girls and our young boys are being molested and raped by the men and the women that's coming through the house because of the drug use. They know these things are happening in our community. See, the point I'm making, family, is it ain't about stopping none of that. Just because you legalize heroin doesn't mean it's going to stop all of that. But if they can somehow convince you that it's better to legalize it so that it can reduce the harm to the addict, if they know that that's the only story they have to sell, and legalize it so you no longer have to lock up the addict, they know if that's the only story they can sell, sometimes, family, that's all our community needs to give them our vote. But every time we want to have these political conversations, some, not all, I'll say too many in our community don't want to have the political conversations. They zone out. They leave and they say, I don't know about all of that. I don't want to hear about all of that. Listen, I just know we got to do this. I just know we got to do that. And they don't even know why. Why we got to do the things that we're doing. They're just saying it because that has been fed to us in the media sources that we look at. See, our mind has to be a lot stronger than what it is. Our minds have to be a lot stronger than what it is. We got to stop looking at this guy and saying, oh my God, he's black and they're trying to hurt. No. Right? One fine is saying that's exactly what is happening. Using a black man to bait other races to believe it's okay. And they would easily fall for it. We got to stop getting mad after the fact. We got to stop getting mad after the fact. When we're having these discussions, don't turn off. Don't shut down. Engage in the conversation. Think about it. Black Mama, hey Black Mama, that's my sister over there. She said, even if they legalize heroin, they know that the behaviors associated with drug use are often criminal. So they still have justification for locking Black people up. Yes, it's not going to stop. It ain't going to stop our babies from being taken from us. It's not going to stop the dead bodies in our community. It's not going to stop the crime in our community. And it's not going to stop the prison system from being overloaded. But they're going to brainwash your mind because they know some of our minds ain't strong enough. As long as they blow on us and say they blew on us because we're Black, we're going to get mad. That's how fragile we are. They blow, we react. They prop on the news, another Black man getting killed, we react. They prop on the news, another Karen going crazy, we react. Why do you think this stuff is happening? Keeping you reactive. They're tiring you out. Racial battle fatigue. They tiring you out. You getting tired. And then they turn around in your weakest moments and convince you that this is the answer for your community. And your weakest moments, they're convincing you that they're helping you. And we going for it. We going for it, family. Do y'all see what I'm talking about? Do you see what I'm talking about? They just got to wear you down. Wear you down. Then they turn around and put a nice face that look like you. And they know how to get you at all ages. They got this man, Professor Carl Hart, with his little graying locks, sitting up, got the little hoop earring in his ear, all of that. Symbolism, powerful. Looking calm and relaxed. He speaks so well. He's dark. He's chocolate. They know what they're doing. Right? That's right. So our community member over here, D Champion, how you doing, sis? She said, keeping us reactionary to distract from our survival. Right? Angela says, yes, they already know how emotional we are. Right? They know. And you got to watch how they do it, family. Like I said, this brother Grand. And what do? When they want the younger population to do something, they put Cardi B up there. They put Megan Thee Stallion up there. Don't get me wrong. I like Megan Thee Stallion. She's a little Aquarius. I like her. But, I'm just saying, I understand the agenda, Megan. And you smarter than that, Megan. I read about you. You're very smart. I ain't got to tell you, you know. They put Cardi B, and Cardi B just a young little thing. She don't know no better. They just made her rich. And then they started to give her the script. And she just pushes the script. And don't even know what she's doing. Don't even know that her ears of her little baby is being influenced. Just pushing the script. So they know. Because they know what population they're going to capture. Then they prop up people like Obama. Because they know what population he's going to capture. Right? Then they have their commentaries on CNN and stuff. They know just the right color, just the right dark, just the right white. They know everybody how to prop them up. Because they know who they're talking to. It's called psychographics. They know what they're doing. They know what demographic, what population, what age group, what sex. They know all of that. Y'all got to stop being so reactionary. Guard your mind. Read. Listen to these kind of programmings. You don't got to like the messenger, but you have to listen to the message. Pay attention. If the only people you listening to like drama, like arguing, like cussing you out for no goddamn reason, that's the only people y'all listening to that rouse you up and get you angry and get you excited and get you laughing, get you twerking. If that's the only people you are listening to, you are part of the problem. You are part of the problem. That's all I have to say. That's right, Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy says psychographics is real. Y'all better Google it. Y'all better Google it. Right? Somebody said leave negative alone. Community member over here, James. Leave negative alone. Listen, I'm just saying, if that's the only thing you listening to, if that's what you're doing up late at night, early in the morning, just listening to stuff that ain't feeding you, stuff that's not preparing you for what's to come. See, this is why we keep getting the trick bag. This is why we keep getting used and abused. This is why so many of us still believe that the decisions that we are making politically is going to help us. And we wonder why we're still in the same position. They can't help you. You can help you by changing your mind, changing your thinking. You can help you. Because when you change your mind, when you elevate your thinking, when you cultivate your mind, then you're able to activate your goals. When you do that, you're able to see through all the bullshit. When you do that, you move differently. When you do that, you're not afraid of being disliked because you're standing on your principles. And your principles need not to be persuaded by anybody else's. Not everyone agrees with me, and that's fine. I stand on my principles. You can't prop a black man up or a black woman up and just watch me react just because. Now, I might laugh at some things. Because I sit back and I laugh at a lot of things I think is funny, but it doesn't mean it's going to have me running into the booth and voting because I just got to get that guy out there. No, I don't do stupid stuff like that. Because I listen to the language and I listen to what's being said and I search for what's not being said. And then I watch all the little agendas, how they start coming in clusters. You notice that? When they know they're about to be on to the next big thing, they start pushing agendas in clusters. You start seeing more of it. And they get the young people first. The young people first, because they know the older people, it's hard to move them on their morals, right? Because the older people are still grounded on some of the morals, but then they start changing up things. That's what the new world does. The new world order changes up things, and they start to shift your thinking. And then they tell you what's right is wrong, and what is wrong is now right, and you believe them. Listen, I'm going. I told y'all I was going to be going. Listen, I'm 11 minutes over. I hope y'all understood where I was coming from. I hope you understand the message I'm delivering today. This is not about Professor Carr. This is not about him. I can care less. Shoot the heroin between your toes if you want to. Have fun with your wife in the bed shooting up dope if you want to. That's your personal business. Do whatever you want. The message is y'all better watch how they decide to disseminate information and when they decide to disseminate information and who they decide to use as a vehicle to disseminate information. That's the message for today. I love y'all. I love y'all. Ladies, if y'all going to be in my relationship class tomorrow, go ahead and get signed up. You have until tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning to sign up, but sign up tonight. Visit theiriswoman.com. We have great conversation there. We've been doing some great things. The community is growing. Go over to theiriswoman.com and be a part of that community. Fellas, I'm going to have some for y'all too. Fellas. Just not today. And for those of you guys who have been following me on Instagram, I want to say thank you so much for following me on Instagram. If you just want to hear about relationships, today we talked all about sex. I had my little outfit on. It was a juicy conversation. And no, it wasn't this outfit, beloved. I had a nice little outfit on that was appropriate for the conversation. But make sure you go ahead to my Instagram page. Follow me on Instagram when you want to know about relationships, coupling, sex, and other great conversations. Until then, I'll see you guys all on Sunday and have a blessed night.